Hello and welcome to the Scope podcast, Roles and Role. For those of you who don't know us, Scope is a recruitment training business co-founded by myself, Ed Khan, and Laura Oates.
And each week we're going to be giving you 10-minute snippets into our world of recruitment, tips and tricks to help you on your journey as an agency recruiter, and hopefully some laughs along the way too. We hope you guys enjoy.
Welcome everyone. This week, one, I'm not drinking champagne. Two, we're not in the same location. And three, we're talking about exclusivity. So this
God,
topic...
that sounded like such a pitch that you had come up with.
It just all came to me. Didn't even think about it.
Ez is really showing me up with his background.
Yeah.
You could just be normal for this.
No.
But you still have to show that I am incompetent at using Zoom background.
Yeah. Exclusivity this week, because it's come up quite a lot, I think, with a lot of our clients, our course attendees, and that they're working on too many jobs, too many that are completely contingent, not exclusive, filling 1 in 3 roles, in some cases 1 in 5 roles that they're working on. There's a lot of wasted time.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought we'd do a quick short episode on how would you sell exclusivity to clients.
And I think it's worth defining to start with that there are 2 types of exclusivity. Like there's exclusivity on a client account, which I think you have to work for over time through your account management strategy. But there is exclusivity that you can win on roles, individual roles. And I think often people are like, well, I don't have that client exclusive. And it's like, yeah, but you could get the role exclusive. Yeah. And so I think it's that differentiation to start with. You should always, with your client, with your account management strategy, be working towards long-term exclusivity with your clients. But for every single role brief that you take, you should be selling your benefits and selling exclusivity to an extent.
Then what I've just thought, this episode should actually be called Getting Exclusivity, not Selling, because we shouldn't actually be selling exclusivity. It should already be sold. We should be selling the benefits and the process, and then asking as the final stage, okay, we're working exclusively, because the client then understands the benefits of it, rather than doing your normal spiel, trying to sell really hard the benefits of exclusivity, if that makes sense. I feel like the sell actually comes.
Yeah, the sell isn't like work with me. And this, you know what, you're so right. I just got one of like my recruitment shivers. You're so right, because people will go, okay, this is the reason why you should give us the role.
Hold on, we can't carry on. You've just got one of your recruitment shivers.
Like, just maybe it's a training shiver, or it's like when there's like a real succinct point that I'm like, oh, that's the juice. Like that's what we need to get across. The shiver. Anyway, I'm gonna lose what the fucking shiver is if I don't get it out. But it is that, like, we see so many consultants selling like, this is why you should work with me exclusively, because I'll prioritize your role, because I'll do X, Y, and Z. Like, it's not selling the exclusivity, it's selling, this is how I'm going to work your role. You don't need anyone else.
100%.
And then, therefore, we should be working together exclusively.
Yeah, I think it should almost be a given that you're working exclusively if you've done the job of taking a detailed brief, managing the client expectations, going through a project timeline with them, selling your absolute process in terms of, this is how I recruit, this is how I am going to represent your business, these are the platforms that I utilize, this is some stats around how I get success, get their commitment, and then the end result is you have that conversation on, this is what it looks like to work with me exclusively, the commitment, and it's such a little commitment, which really baffles me. And I understand why people don't ask for retained. I get it's a different type of recruit, but working exclusively should be the default. The default shouldn't be contingent, you work with anyone and hopefully I've got a 1 in 5 chance of filling it. It should be do the process, so bring them on the journey of how you're going to be the one to fill it. If they actually understand that well enough, the exclusivity piece of that client meeting is just a given, and this is how we're going to work. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. And I think then what you need to make sure that you have is you need to know how you pitch your sourcing strategy.
100%. This
You just go, okay, great, thanks so much for the brief. We'll start working on that, you know. And we often talk about this, don't we, in a way of like, we go, you know, we'll tell the client what you do in a role. It's like, well, no, tell them how you're going to find the candidates that they can't. So like something that you should always say to clients, rather than like, okay, I'm going to talk you through, it should be like, here's the way I'm going to find you the candidates that otherwise I don't know if you would find. And it has to be focused on the passive candidate strategy, especially in this market.
And it's educational, isn't it? Yeah. We can't assume that a client knows what we're going to do just because they've used recruiters before, because most recruiters won't actually relay their process to the clients, and the clients then go to the default of, oh, it's better to have more recruiters on it, because they don't really understand how a recruiter represents them. And I've got a good example of this is my, not mortgage person, who's the person that does the final contract part?
Your conveyancer.
Conveyancer. I've no idea what a conveyancer does. I know loosely what they're meant to be doing.
You don't even know the name of them.
No, I do. Joan Latenti. Anyway, complete convincing, amazing woman. But I don't really know what they do day to day. But when I got on the phone to her, she relayed exactly what she was going to do. As this is what it takes. This is what I'm going to do. This is the steps that I need to take. I send you this, you do this, on contract exchange date, this happens. Cool, I understood the process. She laid it out very clearly. And then she gave me the quote and I was like, holy shit, you're doing all of that for $12.50?
No.
And then I was like, sweet, I'm 100% sold. We don't need to have a conversation about fees, because I understood the whole process. But if she had just gone in and done, I'm doing everything, it's $12.50, I probably would have questioned it and wanted a few other options, because I don't know what's entailed. And in my head, I would have thought, okay, it's a quick contract exchange. Is that worth $12.50? Versus her explaining these are the steps and me going, of course that's value for money. And I don't need to look anywhere else.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of that is that she's probably not doing a huge amount different to what any other conveyancer was doing, but it was the you now feel comfortable that you don't even need to go and get another quote. And I think that's what we don't give clients. We give clients like the bare minimum, and then they go, okay, cool. Well, what's their priority? Their priority is reporting into their seniors and hitting deadlines and hitting budgets and doing all of this stuff. So they go, okay, cool. Well, for me to be able to be seen to be doing my job effectively, I should probably get another quote. And this is where we get multiple recruiters working on roles, because it's normally that we just didn't close the client properly 100%. In the effing brief. You know, we just go, okay, great, we'll start working on that. Or we go, look, this is what working with me exclusively looks like. And the client's like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, how do I know you're going to fill it? Because you didn't sell to them how you were going to fill it. Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people, I was going to say our listeners, and then I was like, who am I kidding? Like, don't get
have 5 listeners.
If you are listening to this, you might be our listeners, because we've got this tribe.
Who do you think you are? Stephen Bartlett?
An influencer. If you are listening to this, you might be thinking like, oh, but I don't want all of my roles exclusively. And what I would then be looking at, which is what I would always do with clients, and what I do now, even when I'm working with new training clients, is building a period of like exclusivity, which you can then assess afterwards. And I think also clients are really open to this. So like on perm, I normally say 2 weeks, on temp, 3 days. That should give you long enough. That should give you the time that you need to get your roles to interview stage or to placement for temp. without you needing to commit to the lifespan of the role. And I think clients, one, are way more open to it, but then two, you're like, it feels like a really commercial decision. Like, let's work together for the next 10 business days. Let's review how we're going at that point. And if everyone is happy and we're on the right trajectory, we'll just continue on. But if you're not, and you feel that you need to bring in another recruiter at that point, you then have the opportunity. And I think clients go, okay, I can see that there's a process here.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And the commitment level is incredibly low because there's a get out of the agreement clause.
Yeah.
And that's why programs like, I'm going off topic, but bear with me, like monthly recurring programs work really well. Like Netflix is doing so well because you can cancel it whenever you want.
Anytime.
Do they get many cancellations? They don't. It's incredibly low, but offering that as a, look, if you don't like it, you can cancel it in a month. It's pretty much the same, isn't it? Offering exclusivity or agreeing to exclusivity for a shorter period on the face that there isn't a huge amount of commitment from the client, but 2 weeks is enough for you to prove your worth and to prove to them that they don't need to go elsewhere.
And then if you're not, you know, if you feel in those 2 weeks that the client's got unrealistic expectations, they don't come back to you on resume submissions, you're not getting the feedback you need, whatever, you get a chance to address it and you get a chance to opt out as well, which you should be doing because you should be focused on quality clients and quality recruits. So I almost think it creates also an air of exclusivity in that I will work with you for the next 2 weeks exclusively, but then we'll both reassess whether it's working.
Yeah.
And I think that also like breaks down that master servant vibe that we can fall into even more, because it's like, well, it's also up to, you know, if they're a new client for you, you want to assess whether they're going to be right for you long term as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so if you're not working exclusively, at least start with your first one, making sure you're selling your process, you're selling exactly how you're going to recruit, getting the client comfortable and on board with how you're going to recruit their role, and then assumptive closing. Assume it's the way you're going to work. So we work exclusively for 2 weeks. If in that time, if after that time, neither of us feel it's working, etc., we're both welcome to walk away. I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Okay, we better go because you've been shivering this session. Better warm up.
The old recruitment shivers. See, we never need to shoehorn a joking because I'll always say something dumb.
The old recruitment shivers. That sounds like you've got a drinking problem.
The old
Laura's got the old recruitment shivers.
Oh man. Oh, fine. Okay. Bye, guys.
See you next week.